Welcome on in, race fans, to tonight's event here in the Trinity Racing League. It is time to begin the season here in EchoPark in Atlanta. We've been here for 3 weeks, but now it is the main event. The clash is over, the duels are over, and now we settle in for our first official points race and to see who comes out of these speed weeks on top. Joining me alongside, as always, is my co-host, Tom Richter. How are you doing tonight, Tom?
Good evening, Arie. Happy Monday to you, and happy Monday to all the race fans joining us for another week here at EchoPark Speedway, the first race where it's going to pay points for these drivers. We set the lineup last week right here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network, where drivers took to the track for 45 laps apiece to determine the starting lineup for tonight's event. Last week, we saw Thomas Green win duel number 2 and Chris Stitz win duel number 1, so a lot of drivers keeping an eye on them as we get set to go points racing out here tonight from the Trinity Racing League.
Absolutely. Can't forget about driver 25, Cody Reed, either who qualified on pole and won the Clash 2 weeks ago as well. So we've already got a couple of names to keep an eye out for. We've also got a number of names who went out there and kind of made a statement, made a name for themselves in the first couple of weeks out here in EchoPark, but, maybe they didn't get to shine. They either didn't get the win or something went wrong, whether it be an incident or otherwise. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a number of different contenders that we've already seen through the first couple of weeks kind of come back up there and really be going for it tonight.
Yeah, certainly, and it's going to be it's going to pose a challenge for these drivers, right? Because the Clash had about 22, maybe 25 cars in it. Each duel had about 17, 18 cars in it. This is the first time that everybody's going to be on track together for the longest race of the season so far for 123 laps tonight.
First time of many. 18 races make up the bulk of our season here in the Trinity Racing League every Monday night. Looking forward to what sort of battle we're going to get this season for the championship, what sort of battle we're going to get race in and race out. But we've got to start it off the right way, start it off with a bang, and coming out here to EchoPark in Atlanta for what is the most challenging super speedway race. Great way to do so. Practice is just winding up. Couple of minutes left for these drivers to make their way around, practice some green flag pit stops, as you can see coming out of turn 4 right there, and settle in for tonight's event. It's going to be a race of survival.
Top 5 in opening practice, Thomas Green, who won duel number 2 last week, at the top of the board in practice. Ryan Kelly currently second. Chris Stitz, winner of duel number 1 last week. Cedric Hunter and Josh Stovall, the top 5.
Currently out on track, one of our top 5, driver number 1, Josh Stovall, in that Chevy Camaro, circulating through turns 3 and 4 at the moment. That Tootsie's machine. Stovall was a driver who we talked about a fair bit up to this point in kind of the speed week sessions out there. Looks like he's doing a little bit of some fun end of practice shenanigans here, going through the grass and whatnot, but hopefully not going to repeat that come race time.
Yeah, that's not going to be the line that drivers are going to want to take here. And as we have about a minute out here remaining in practice, we're going to go on board with Josh Sawyer for a minute as the field begins to make their final laps in practice. And we're going to see some great green flag racing out here tonight from Trinity Racing League. Arie, I know that I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also looking forward to our upcoming events beginning next week, where we're going to be at Kansas Speedway, our first race outside of a super speedway.
That we are. Kansas should be a great second race of the season. It'll be a great test for these drivers. We'll be able to go out there to one of the more traditional racetracks and kind of see where everyone stacks up. We've got some new faces here in the Trinity Racing League, apart from just you and I up here in the booth and seeing all of these drivers kind of come together, new and old, and where they mix and match should be a good time. But I tell you what, Kansas and Indy should make up a great little opening portion of the season, but we're taking these O'Reilly Series cars out to Austria for the Red Bull Ring in race 4 of the season, first road course, and that's the one I've got circled there, Tom. I'm kind of jealous that I'm not out on track for that one.
Well, that makes one of us. I have never even seen Red Bull Ring, so it's going to be a learning experience for myself, and I'm sure some of these other drivers out here, as the checkered flag falls over practice. And, well, we've got about 5 minutes here. The race control has given us a couple of minutes to allow the field to get settled because there is no qualifying out here this evening because we did that last week. So why don't we say we're going to grab somebody that we didn't get to talk to last week, and that's the winner of duel number 1 last week. We got Chris Stitz. Chris, how you doing tonight?
Good. How are you guys doing?
We are doing okay. I was talking with Arie before we started the broadcast, and I said, we haven't been able to talk to Chris. He won last week's duel and kind of got shafted because we jumped right over to duel number 2. So you won last week's duel. You're starting tonight third on the board. Longest race of the season so far that we're going to see. How you feeling about your chances tonight?
I feel pretty good. I think track position is really important here. So starting up front is definitely going to be helpful and key to be able to stay up here throughout the entire race and obviously not getting a wreck.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen our fair share of them. Atlanta certainly provides them as they come, but you're starting third out here tonight. Anybody that you noticed last week that you specifically worked really well with?
Um, off the top of my head, I think I was running behind Jarrett for a little while in the first duel, pushing him, and it seemed like we were able to gain a lot of momentum on the outside, but not really other than that, because when I was sitting on the outside, I feel like we didn't have a lot of momentum when I was leading the lane. But so if I can get hooked up with one of my teammates, Ryan Kelly or JB Sawyer, I know we'll definitely have a good chance to hold on to the lead in any form.
All right. Well, best of luck out to you here tonight, Chris. Hopefully we get to chat with you at the end of tonight's race. Were you with Yep, got you right there. Gonna kick you back up to your team room. Best of luck tonight.
Thank you, guys. Hope to see you later, too.
All right, driver the number 17, winner of the duel number 1 last week, and we are in a holding pattern here as we wait for the clock to wind down. Got just over 3 minutes on the clock before we see them roll out of pit road.
That we do, and I tell you what, while we are waiting, why don't we throw up a little refresher? Can we, I don't know, is that a thing? Do we have that option here for showing the grid in the meantime? Because it was a little bit ago since we qualified, since we don't qualify tonight for this event. Maybe we can just use the, there we go. There we got it. Tom found the right button. Let's take a look at the running order here for tonight's event. A little bit of a refresher. We already determined the lineup ahead of time. The front row was set from qualifying, and third on back was determined by the 2 dual races that we did 1 week ago. Cody Reed and Ryan Kelly are on the front row for tonight's event. Cody Reed getting the first pole position of the season. Chris Stitz and Thomas Green, those are our 2 dual winners from 1 week ago. They're going to start on row 2 in 3rd and 4th. Then we've got Ollie Fonseca in 5th, Mike Miller in P6. Justin Campbell is going to start us off in 7th, Cedric Hunter in 8th, Josh Stovall in 9th, and rounding out the top 10, Samuel Garcia.
11th place is going to be held by Chris Stamper in the number 53 Ford Mustang from tonight's event. Scott Rickard rolls off 12th. Following them, they got Ryan Bird in the 49 and Stephen Clapp in row number 7. Joshua Kanata rounds out the top 15. Isaac Shelley starts 16th out here tonight in front of Brandon Gass. Justin Smith, Jarrett Talmadge, and Sam Dyer, the top 20.
In 21st, it's going to be driver 8, Noah Steele, ahead of Thomas Walter in 22nd. Nolan Hicks starts us off in 23rd, Joshua Sawyer in 24th. We've got Mark Labertone in 25th, Nick Renner starting 26th, Ben Kinney in 27th, Malik Coots starts 28th, Aaron Kralik in 29th, and 30th is going to be Jesse Thornock. Rounding out our field of 32 will be Christopher Norris and David Reichman.
The field of 32 drivers gets set to roll off a pit road out here as we have just about a minute remaining out in the warm-up that these drivers have. Want to give a quick little shout out here to the drivers of the Trinity Racing League and the sponsors that provide it here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network. The pole sitter and grid sponsor is Blazing Fast TV. If you're looking for a chill, relaxed stream, head on over to Blazing Fast TV on Twitch and YouTube. See a live point of view from Dakota Moniz as he races. Drop a follow, subscribe to stay up to date when he goes live and posts content.
There we have it. And speaking of our grid, we got to look at our front row right there. That bright 25 car. Can't miss that paint scheme out there on track with those bright colors right there. Love to see it. We do have Larry Arts in chat as well, rooting on the drivers, and it looks like we're getting ready to roll off a pit road in just a few moments.
All the drivers are given the command to fire the engines, and we are set to go racing out here tonight for 123 laps of racing from the super speedway. That these drivers are going to be fighting the morning sun, sim time about 9:45 a.m. And we saw the challenges that these drivers had to work with last week underneath the morning sun. We were talking to Josh Knott a little bit earlier, and he says it's a little bit cloudier than it was last Monday night. So he doesn't seem to think that it will be as big of an issue, but time will tell.
Time will tell, and while he says it's a little cloudier, I tell you what, Tom, I'm seeing a different picture, at least at the moment. Maybe the clouds will roll in, but I see some sunshine, some good morning sun out over the track here today. I see some clouds off in the distance. We'll see if they roll in and affect the handling of these race cars. But for those of you guys watching at home, keep in mind that over the, specifically last week, over the 2 duels, we saw a lot of handling issues that got so bad that the field pretty much had to single file out at the tail end of these long runs. So we'll see if these drivers can manage, but now all of the talk, all of the predictions, all of the build-up is over, and it's time for the first race of the season.
All the hype and the butterflies come to life here behind the wheels of these Xfinity cars as we get set to go racing out here tonight from Atlanta for race number 1 of 18 of the Trinity Racing League schedule. Arie, what do you say we go racing tonight?
Ready to do it. Let's bring that iRacing.com pace car off of the racing surface down pit road. The field is going to be in the hands of Cody Reed and Ryan Kelly. Barney's going to wave that green flag, and we are a go for Trinity 2026. Cody Reed's going to lead us down into turn 1.
For the first time this season, the driver's going to come up through the gearboxes 4 gears strong. Cody Reed's going to have half a car advantage on the inside as he's got Ryan Kelly stuck up on the outside with Thomas Green directly behind him. We just spoke to him, Chris Stitz pushing the 25 of Reed down the backstretch.
We can already see Justin Campbell in the 2 car pulling out of line, doesn't want any of this action early on in the race. Get me back there and let me survive a little bit. These drivers do have quite a long ways to go, 123 laps tonight. And although this is the shortest super speedway of the bunch, it is the most treacherous, especially through the tri-oval right here. You can see all these drivers trying to navigate. Normally on these mile-and-a-half tracks, Tom, going through that tri-oval is no big deal, but you're in the pack right here. You are inches away, if even that, from the driver in front, the driver behind, and the driver to your side trying to navigate those sharp turns.
Yeah, and the difference between Daytona and Talladega, just visually at a glance, is Daytona and Talladega have one nice radius, right? When these drivers come through here, they got to manage it twice. They got to manage the first left-hand curve, go across the start-finish line, and then come across, and that sometimes poses drivers not being lined up with each other, and we saw it the past 2 weeks. That's where the bad bumps come from.
It absolutely is, and I would be shocked if we didn't see at least one incident happen in the tri-oval today. As we look a little further back in the field, we've got some 3-wide action going on as these drivers try to figure out where they want to be. The M&M's machine, the 51's actually going to get into the 42, and we have issues. 4 wide for a moment. The 42 still struggling as these drivers get it under control. Mark Labertone manages to keep that 42 machine straight somehow, some way.
Single car incident for Mark here. We caught it live here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network. So Mark's up here on the outside. The 51 slides up maybe just a tiny little bit, maybe a little bit of contact there, right front to left rear fender. And then what a job by everybody behind him, because this could have been much, much worse.
Oh, it absolutely could have, and I think there's some fun irony in Justin Campbell in the 2 car being right in front of this, having ducked out of the lead pack just to avoid something like this, and then it falls in his lap anyway. But everyone does make it through, and back up front, Cody Reed continues to lead that inside line, and second place qualifier Ryan Kelly continues to lead the outside.
Big pushes from the outside. Last week's duel number 2 winner Thomas Green working the back bumper of the 13 of Ryan Kelly. I really liked what I saw out of the 3 last week. He was able to manage both lines, and he told us in the post-race interview, he said, you know, with as bad as the car was handling, you just kind of send it and you just kind of slide up, and it kind of took care of itself. We'll see if that is the way the drivers have to manage their race out here this evening. But a little bit more 3-wide racing towards the back half to the middle of the top 15 back here.
Looks like they may have just gotten it all sorted out a little bit. It was the 49 car of Ryan Bird looking to maybe fall back a couple of positions here, get into the safe zone, as it were. You can see a number of these drivers running single file on the track, and you'll often see this in these drafting races, is you'll get a little tail of one lane of drivers on the bottom, just kind of riding, taking their time. They're not in a hurry. They're just kind of sitting themselves right behind where the chaos is going to unfold, but close enough that they don't have to worry about going a lap down.
Mike Miller, the third car in line on the outside line. The outside line has lost a little bit of momentum, nothing too concerning just yet. They are still side by side with row number 2. It's going to be row number 1 by the time they get into turn number 1.
That it is, as the top 4 remains as it did at the very start of the race, continuing to feel it all out and see where the handling of these race cars is going to go. We're currently working lap 7, so it's still going to be a little ways before we start thinking about how worn down these tires are. But as the run goes on further and further, Tom, I can't help but think that the outside line might not have the pace benefit. They are going to have the tire wear benefit, because on the inside line at a 1.5-mile track like this, trying to run full throttle, you're putting a lot of pressure on the right side tires.
Yeah, but the outside line's putting a lot of faith in the inside line to keep it down there. We saw a couple of cars last week slide up into the outside lane. We also saw some cars maybe trying to take a little bit of an alternate tire strategy. A little bit longer of a race. Will we see the same thing out here tonight if we do get some off-cycle pit stops out here? I don't hate it if you're running towards the back of the field and we get a caution in the next 5 or so laps. Get off cycle and try to get some track position here.
Absolutely, and I tell you what, let's get a cool little view right here from on board the 05 of Scott Richter running on the inside line, kind of towards the back of this lead pack right now, and you can just see we're almost 3 wide with the 27 right there. Just to kind of give you guys a little bit of an indication as to what this is like racing in the pack at these plate tracks, at these super speedway style races. You're on the throttle pretty much the entire time. There's no braking points, there's no big off throttle time or anything like that. The only time that you're getting off throttle is when you're managing the gap to the driver in front, and we can actually hear Scott playing with the throttle quite a bit right here to manage that gap to the 50 of Garcia just in front of him. If we jump up to the 50 of Garcia, you can see managing this gap to the 1 car as well, and we'll be playing with the throttle a little differently. And as you go up and through the field here, if you're on the bottom, you're worrying about what's right in front of you, you're worrying about what's right behind you, you're worrying about what's to the right of you. Sometimes there's 2 things to the right of you, sometimes someone's looking to the left of you, and you got to do all of this while going 190 miles an hour.
And some of this also, right, so these drivers are managing temperatures, but some of this, and probably more of this, is also visual. When you're tucked up right on the back bumper of another driver, such as we see here with Cody Reed pushing the 13 of Ryan Kelly along, you can't really see a whole lot now. Obviously, these drivers are leading the pack, so there's not a whole lot that's happening in front of them. But if you go back to Sam Garcia, or if you go back to Scott Richter that we were just on board with, they can't really see a whole lot when they're tucked up that close. So give yourself a little bit more of a line of sight towards any potential action happening as well.
Absolutely. Great onboard shots here of these drivers racing around in the pack early on here in Atlanta. Working lap 12 at the moment. Got a number of friends and family out in chat supporting various drivers. Seeing some support for Ollie, for Cody, for Sam, for Josh Stovall. Let us know if you're out there watching, who you're rooting on, who you want to see have success tonight.
New race leader Mike Miller takes it up to the outside lane. He's got help from the Cedric Hunter directly behind him. Thomas Green has a moment on the entry into turn number 1. He's going to have to back out of it. The car is going to single file out for just a moment, but the top 3 breakaway, Miller, Hunter, Stovall.
Miller, Hunter, Stovall, and it looks like it's going to be Cedric Hunter, who's looking for the lead on the outside, wants to get that bright pink Hello Kitty Supra up in first, but not if Josh Stovall can help it. It's going to be pushing Mike Miller across the line. 99 car in P1. We're going to go 3 wide as Cedric Hunter gets shuffled out by the bright yellow and black 53. That's a driver in Chris Stamper, Tom, who we saw really get up towards the front and shake things up quite a bit already in Speed Weeks.
Yeah, I think Stamper probably had the best showing throughout the first 2 races, the clash, and then didn't get the finish that he wanted to, but certainly showed some muscle in those preseason races, and already up 6 spots from his qualifying position as he leads the outside lane here with an opportunity to take the race lead, but a yellow flag is out. Lee Coons, Ben Kinney having an issue on the front stretch.
An issue indeed through the tri-oval as we see the 33 of Malik Kuntz look to recover. Potential issues for the 2 of Justin Campbell as well. Let's see if we can't queue up a replay right here and see exactly what happened. We can see those 2 drivers are running together. Let's get it up to speed right here. And it looks like, ooh, does Kuntz just kind of get a snap right there, right in front of this little pack?
He does. Justin Campbell, nowhere to go. Mark Libertoni, nowhere to go. And Malik's going to make a little bit of contact with the outside retaining wall. Not too bad. He'll be able to buff that out on pit road and still stay competitive out there. Christopher Norris possibly getting involved in that incident as well.
Let's take a look from on board Christopher Norris in the 38 right here. I think he had a pretty good view of what happened here. All happened in front of him, checking up. Great job getting checked up right here. The 42 does come right back up in front of him. Wow. Incredible work from the 38 to avoid the wall, to avoid the 42, gets it going, keeps that race car clean. I was wondering if he got a hit on the 42 or not. Wanted to take a look there,
yeah.
But...
Yeah, that's what I saw. I saw the 42 sliding back up, and I thought maybe there was contact when Mark did slide back up. But looks like we get our first full course caution of the evening, and a couple of drivers electing to come down pit road. Josh Stovall electing to come down pit road, followed by Chris Stamper, and maybe a few others towards the back.
Yeah, some split strategy going on right here. Couple more drivers towards the back, fancying going ahead and coming down on pit road right here. And something to keep in mind is, of course, the fact that we're not racing to any designated stage at this point. So, you know, I almost wonder if you don't want to take every caution you get, like right here at lap 17, Tom.
Yeah, the difficult challenge that these drivers have, as the field is kind of split here, 13 cars stay out and the rest come down pit road. These drivers only have 5 tire sets. We are currently working on lap number 18, been under caution for a lap or 2, so call it 16 laps of green flag race, and those drivers are going to be down a set, as they're now only going to have 3 remaining, three changes remaining.
It is a good point. I'd be curious to see how many of these drivers do elect to take tires. Drivers are just now coming off of pit road, and we can find out. Scott Richter, no tires on that machine. It looks like Josh Stovall, Chris Stamper, they're going to take tires. Christopher Norris elects not to, and then it looks like we have a bunch more tires behind. Kanata, Stitz, Justin Smith, Brandon Gass all take tires. Maybe some 2 tires. I see a 10-second stop. That kind of tells me 2 tires maybe for Aaron Kralik. A little bit of a mixed bag as we go down throughout the field, and as a whole, I think that makes up, I don't know, maybe just over half of the field who came down on pit road this time.
Yeah, from 14th place on back, 14th to 32nd, those drivers came down. Whether it was for service, whether it was 4 tires or not, is a different story, as Arie was alluding to. See a handful of drivers, Scott Rickard, Christopher Norris, Thomas Walter, all sub 10 seconds on their pit road stop time, as well, we're going to see how they march their way forward. But we now get to see our choose rule that the Trinity Racing League uses, and a couple of drivers electing to take the outside lane here over track position.
Oh yeah, the game of line versus track position, and I think it might be even more important here at Atlanta than it would be at Daytona Talladega. I feel like it's a little harder to kind of get a good outside line working at a track like Atlanta here versus those other 2. You kind of get some really good options, so you might just go with whatever gets you the furthest up. But here, it might be a little different. I wouldn't be surprised if these drivers maybe favor the inside line more than average.
Biggest mover of the night so far, David Reichman back in 13th place, up 19 spots from his qualifying effort. He was the last driver to stay out without tires on this most recent caution, so we'll keep a close eye on that 06 Supra as this restart gets going. But you can see the difference in the lines here with about 7 or 8 more cars electing to take the inside line here, Arie.
Absolutely the case, and we are getting strapped in, getting ready to get this race restarted after the first yellow or incident tonight. Lights are out on that pace car. Front row, it's a little different. It's going to be Thomas Green, winner of one of our duels 1 week ago, alongside Mike Miller in the 99. They're going to be the ones leading us back to green. Control car is going to be the 3 of green.
Row number 2 made up of Ryan Kelly and Cedric Hunter, and we're about to go into the restart zone for the first time out here tonight for the first caution. And we are back. Green flag racing. Barney's sending them on their way. Once again, Thomas Green with a good restart. Ryan Kelly up in the outside lane. Get help from Cedric Hunter.
Inside line's got a great restart. Gonna pull Ryan Kelly clear into turn 1. And on the inside, that's going to be Jarrett Talmadge in the 27, also looking to make some moves. Now, Talmadge is another driver as he jumps to the outside line right there to lead that line. That was a driver who we saw do very well in the duels, led the most laps in his respective duel, but it all fell apart late, got involved in a wreck coming to the finish and didn't get the result that he would have wanted, but you got to watch out for that 27.
Can't miss that bright number 27 as he goes for the race lead on the start-finish line here, working lap number 21 of 123 out here tonight in the Trinity 123. He's going to pull side-by-side with the 13 of Ryan Kelly. A battle for second place, but it's all Thomas Green out front.
All Thomas Green at the moment. A little bit of three-wide action a little further back. That's Josh Stovall, middle of the sandwich, trying to get things figured out as on the high side, the 19 of Joshua Sawyer looks to be finding a spot in line, does so finally, clears that situation up, and we can focus back on the race for the lead because here comes the 27 with help from Mike Miller.
Mike Miller pushes the 27 down into the south end of the speedway into turns 1 and 2. Thomas Green on the inside, Jarrett Talmadge on the outside. They're going to race nose to nose down the backstretch. It's a horse race into turn number 3.
That it is. Through turns 3 and 4, you can see just how much the 27 is pinching down on the 3 of Thomas Green. This is something that we saw in the duels 1 week ago as well, Tom, is that Jarrett was one of the drivers, maybe the driver most willing to pinch the driver on the bottom line. He really likes that outside line. He really likes to run right up on the driver on the inside line, gets closer than anyone else. And with that comes a high risk, high reward. He's the best driver leading the outside line, but you also got to keep in mind that these drivers are all on older tires, and at some point that inside line is going to start really struggling with handling.
That is true, and that's something that they need to be aware of as we come out of turn number 4. Jarrett Talmadge, he's going to get the momentum run. Will he lead this lap? I want to say visually he led that lap here at EchoPark Speedway, as now he noses ahead on the entry of turn number 1, but Mike Miller in the 99, he's going to float up half a lane, and that's going to allow the 3 to come back.
Help from the 13 in route to the 3 of Thomas Green. They're going to stay about dead even are the race leaders down into turn 3 right here. You can see the other drivers a little further in the pack just kind of riding for the time being. Interestingly enough, Cody Reed, third driver on the inside, he's keeping quite a gap to the back of Ryan Kelly in the 13. A lot more of a gap than what we see going on the outside lane, and that maybe makes me wonder if that's helping that outside line quite a bit.
It may be, but I like giving a little bit of space, especially here, not so much over Talladega or Daytona, but this allows the 2 drivers in front of you to really lock bumpers and make a mistake. That's the biggest thing. Allow them to make a mistake that if they do make a mistake directly in front of you, you're not going to be immediately on top of them if they do make a mistake and potentially cause a 20-car pileup. So I do like giving a little bit of space here, even if it is a little difficult for the inside line to maintain right now.
Absolutely, and speaking of, we just saw the 3 get a crazy push down through the tri-oval, get sideways for half a second. That allowed that outside line to capitalize. Jarrett Talmadge in the 27 clear to try and control both lanes, and it looks like that is what he's going to try and do. Will the 3 car now jump out to the outside line and trade positions?
The outside lane is now led by Mike Miller as they cross the start-finish line on lap number 27. Out here tonight, Thomas Green stays in line behind Talmadge, and the entry into turn number 1, that allows the 99 to see the lead and the opportunity for the lead for the first time out here, but he needs some help from Hunter right behind him.
That he does, and we're going to see how these drivers get it figured out. At the moment, though, from third on back, they're kind of in a stalemate, those 2 side drafting each other, allowing those top 2 to kind of run in free air at the moment. They can use as much track as they want, and Thomas Green's going to have a big decision to make here whenever that high side line can get enough momentum. So we ride on board right here with Cedric Hunter on the outside, and this gyro cam gives you a great indication as to just how much banking is in these corners and just how low the visibility is actually inside the race car right here. I think when you're on the high side, you lose about 50% more visibility than what you have on the inside.
Yeah, he is right up on the back of Mike Miller, and you can tell right here, can't really see a whole lot of what's happening in front of him. So now he's just playing with the throttle. He's going down into turn number 1 and saying, if something happens in front of you, yell it out, because I'm going to run you over if you don't.
Absolutely. You can see him get loose out of turn number 2 right there, and that might be a little bit of a telltale sign as to what we can start to expect with the handling of these race cars over the course of tonight's event right here. Drivers getting loose, rear end loose. We've seen it already tonight. It caused one of the incidents with a little bit of a snap of oversteer. We saw it a lot last week, and it looks like we might be getting ready to head that way again. But at the moment, we've now got 3 drivers clear on the inside as Ryan Kelly in the 13 has broken that stalemate with the 99.
One driver that I want to highlight here real quick, Josh Stovall in the 1 on the inside lane. He is the first car that came down. He had a 15-second pit stop, so first car on tires. He has made his way back up into the 6th place running position. Next closest driver is Chris Stamper back in 10th, so the 1 is making the good on the Goodyear work.
That he is, and it looks like we're going to go 3 wide for the race lead as Ryan Kelly leaves Jared Talmadge in the middle. They're going to have help on the outside, but they get into the wall, and now that is not going to work out too well for these drivers as everyone tries to make their way around. We're 3 wide as Kelly finally finds a spot to slot in right there. The 14 and the 6 are in the wall further back, and 3 wide still. We're 3 wide up front yet again, and this time it's going to be Thomas Green.
3 wide settles back to 2 wide for the race lead. Cody Reed on the inside, Talmadge on the outside. Josh Stovall on those 4 fresh tires. Yellow flag is out. Issue for Ryan Bird, issue for other drivers. Oh my goodness. 2nd issue of the night. Brandon Gass involved in that. Looks like Nolan Hicks may have gotten involved. Possibly Sam Dyer as well.
All right, let's see if we can queue up a replay right here. Let's jump on. See, where could this have started? The 29 is a little further up in the field by the looks of it. We'll keep it in slow-mo here. This is coming out of the tri-oval and headed down into turn number 1. It looks like, who is that on the outside right there? The 06 comes off the wall, going to right hook the 29 down into turn 1. That is as hard of a hit as you are going to get. And we're going to need an onboard of Josh Kanata yet again right here as he just slips through. And it looks like another incident just kind of meets in the middle. Wow, those are some hard hits, Tom.
Yeah, Nolan Hicks and Ryan Bird, they're going to come in a little bit late. And it's funny because we were telling Josh earlier to give us some great onboard cams. And, well, we'll see if we can't get one here with Mr. Kanata here from that number 16.
Oh, my God.
Wow. That's a little bit closer than I would want it to be if I was behind that 16 car.
Absolutely. Wow, that 29 went for a wild ride with that one right there. And now we're going to see a number of drivers bring it down on pit road. Pretty much everybody who stayed out on that last yellow, all going to be bringing it in right now. And a number of those drivers who did pit before, looks like they're going to also come down to top off on some fuel. I mean, realistically, Tom, we only have 5 drivers out on track at the moment.
We do, and all 5 of those drivers, they pitted on lap number 17. So as these drivers work, we're working about lap number 33 here. They're going to have probably about 15 green flag laps on their tires, but pretty much the entirety of the field on pit road out here. Quick close a loop on Ryan Bird, still on pit road. Brandon Gass still on pit road. I would imagine that would likely be terminal for the 29. Nolan Hicks also on pit road. I want to say he'll get back out there with the damage that he's got.
Yeah, I would tend to think so, at least. I hope he does, with that beautiful Taco Bell scheme representing the best fast food out there, if you ask me, Tom, but I'm not the one sponsored. Up front of the 5 drivers who stayed out, Josh Stovall, our race leader in the 1 car. We know we got people out in chat supporting Josh, currently in the race lead. Chris Stamper in 2nd, Malik Kuntz, Justin Smith, Ben Kinney. Those are going to be the 5 who stayed out under this yellow. They're going to gain themselves some track position ahead of the rest of the field, though they now have tires that are about twice the age of most everyone who just came down on pit road at this point. So track position, less fuel, little bit worse tires, and these strategies, these differing strategies are kind of surprising me. You know, I would probably tend to be the driver myself, Tom, who would have come down both times. Maybe not for tires both times by any means, but at least for fuel, given, you know, you don't have stages for guaranteed yellows. So honestly, give me the fuel every time just in case I need to look forward to a green flag pit stop.
Yeah, the difficult part about that, Arie, is only the top 5 stayed out, right? And it becomes difficult because if you're running 5th, you don't know that everybody's behind you is going to come. One would imagine so, but it's difficult to rely on that. So, I mean, they ran the chance of going back down into the mid-20s if that didn't work, but it's currently working for the top 5, led by Stovall and Stamper up on the front row.
And we're getting them all doubled up. Lights are out on the pace car. Josh Stovall, Chris Stamper on the front row for our restart. And I tell you one thing I'm noticing right now, it's that cloud cover rolling in over the track. It's gotten a lot darker. Looking at this camera shot down out of turn 3 and down the back straightaway. Zoom it out a little, you can still see a little bit of light kind of towards turn 4 here, but clouds are starting to roll in. That's going to cool the track down just a little bit. Might improve the handling for these race cars, but it might also cause these drivers to think they can get a little more aggressive.
34 laps down, 2 incident cautions out here tonight. Race being led by Stovall and Stamper up on the front row. It's about time we go back. Green flag racing for the 3rd time out here tonight. The iRacing.com pace car is going to make a hard left-hand turn down pit road, and we're going to come into the restart zone once again.
All right, into the restart zone we go. Josh Stovall going to hit the loud pedal and bring us back to green flag conditions here. Everyone gets up to speed at roughly the same time, but there are some big gaps on that bottom lane. Are they going to be filled from anyone on the high side? They might not have the opportunity, and it looks like the field is going to start to bunch up down the back straightaway here, but advantage Josh Stovall, and maybe Malik Kuntz can get clear.
Chris Stamper with an opportunity almost to get down onto the inside line. That spot's going to fill by the 51 of Ben Kenny and the 33 of Kuntz as they race down the backstretch. Put the 53 up on the outside. He's got help from the 6 of Justin Smith.
Across the line, this time under green, the one car is going to lead with help from the 33. And on the outside line, now we've got a number of drivers getting hooked up nose to tail, going to try and make a run right here. The only driver clear is our race leader, Josh Stovall, as it looks like that inside line is really starting to struggle on some of those older tires.
Stovall's going to jump onto the inside lane, but the 53 of Stamper, he's going to get a run to the middle of the track here, 3 wide with Justin Smith up on the outside.
3 wide, and nobody wants to help Justin Smith. We've already seen this happen twice before. A driver who gets shuffled on the outside line is all alone. Nobody seems to want to go up there. They're going to stay with whoever's in the middle, and now the 53 is going to jump down in front of Stovall, give the lead to Chris Stamper, as here comes Chris Stitz on the outside, winner of the first duel last week.
And he's got Jared Talmadge right up in his rearview mirror as those 2 cars up on the outside lane. Issues in turns 3 and 4. Talmadge gets quarter paneled, and everybody's going to somehow make it out of turn number 4.
Not for long as the 27 gets clipped into the 51, and it finally all falls apart. Multiple drivers involved, piled up in the tri-oval. The 3, the 27, the 51, and the 6 all getting parked just under the start and finish line, and what looked like an issue that had started to resolve itself all went south, and I think it started between the 3 and the 27. We can go back and take another look right here. This is, at this point, Tom, I think the drivers have saved it, but I think something happens with the 3.
Yeah, everybody does an incredible job here. You see 3 and even 4 wide at times as they're able to make their way off of turn number 4. But the 27 and the 3, they're going to get together. There's actually contact between... Who is that directly behind the 3?
I'll say the
Thomas
19.
Green?
Yeah, I want to say that's the 19 of Joshua Sawyer there. That does get into the back of the 3. Just trying to get checked up. Can't get checked up in time. That sends Green to the right, and Talmadge was right there at that point. Ben Kinney's just along for the ride. Wrong place, wrong time. Same for driver 6, who gets caught up in this, Justin Smith, as well. These guys are just in a parking lot. And you know who creeped in here at the last second, Tom? Josh Kanata. I think it's time for our traditional Josh Kanata onboard camera, which is starting to become a thing here whenever we get these incidents.
on board with the 16 Trevor project of Josh Kanata. He sees a whole lot happening in front of him. He's going to get out of the gas. Now he sees smoke, and now he's just going to be on the brakes as he's going to come almost to a stop, maybe to a stop on the front stretch, allow everything to get settled, and make it through cleanly.
Oh,
on the front stretch.
Almost to a stop again? All right, he's got to go. I have not seen a driver play it so safe in all my days. But hey, it might work out. If Josh Kanata gets up there and gets a podium when we speak to him tonight, I can't fault him for it.
Top two cars as they run right now, Chris Stamper, Josh Stovall on the front row. Those two drivers, the last two drivers not to pit, they pit on lap number 17. Chris Stitz in the 17 in third place. He is the first driver on tires. You got Malik Kuntz in fourth.
All right, not many drivers electing to come down on this caution, a handful towards the back of the field, a number of those getting some damage repairs to kind of close the loop on some of those. Let's take a look at some of these damaged race cars. The 3 of Thomas Green got some significant damage, though I don't think it will be race ending. The 6 car is going to head off a pit road. He should be okay. The 51's got some slight damage to go around. He shouldn't be too bad. The 27's got a pretty beat up rear bumper Talmadge right here. That might affect the raceability of that race car. One of the big contenders, I guess 2 of the really big contenders in Talmadge and Green, both getting damage right there.
That's going to put Talmadge and Green back in 27th and 28th place for this restart as we are lights out on the pace car. We're going to see the green flag on lap number 42 of 123.
All right, for the first time tonight, the control car is going to take the outside lane. Chris Stamper in that bright yellow Ford Mustang going to lead us to green from the outside lane. That puts Josh Stovall on the inside row, too. It's going to be Malik Kuntz and Chris Stitz, but you might as well go ahead and flip those around. If you're in 4th place, restarting behind the leader, you're pretty much in 3rd place at that point, Tom.
Yeah, and these drivers are going to try to single file out, I would imagine so. On the entry into turn number 1, well, we're going to see who leads the charge to the outside lane, but we are getting set to go racing once again as sun's back out a little bit here over EchoPark Speedway.
That it is. The cloud cover was here, and then it's gone again. We'll be keeping tabs on that throughout tonight's event. We're going to be restarting coming to lap 41 out of 123. Lights are on the pace car. Going to peel off the racing service this time by. And we are going to wrap up the 3rd caution, get back to green. Barney's got that flag in hand, and the 53 is going to lead us into the restart zone.
Quick little quiet night so far for Christopher Norris. Runs back in 7th on the inside lane. He's up 24 spots from his starting position. Keep an eye on that 38. We've seen what he can do in the preseason races, but the outside lane of Stamper, he's going to take the charge into turn number 1 with help from Stitz directly behind him.
Field stays really bunched up on this restart. This might have been the best start we've seen tonight from the collective pack up front. And it looks like Josh Stovall on the inside going to be the big beneficiary here. Going to get clear down into turn 3. And now the 1 car's got options. Does he slide up? He does, to cover off Chris Stamper on the outside line. Going to try and control that lane. That opens the door for Malik Kuntz on the inside.
Give Josh Stovall another lap led here in the Trinity 123 from EchoPark as Josh Stovall now has a car on the inside of Malik Kuntz. Christopher Norris leading the inside lane here. Big pushes on the inside lane coming.
That they are, and we're seeing some drivers get shuffled out of line just a little bit. Looks like they're all going to get it sorted out, but it's looking dicey even despite the incident cautions that we've had up to this point. Drivers still trying to figure out where they need to go, what they need to do, and it looks like a number of these drivers not ready to settle as we've got the 13, not the 13, excuse me, we've got the numbers are confusing. Cedric Hunter in the bright 13, supposed to be the 7. Going 3 wide down the front straightaway right there in that bright pink Hello Kitty machine. Does get it sorted on the outside, now up towards the front. I saw Christopher Norris kind of taking a peek right there. Actually going to bum Malik Kuntz. Now there's a new one.
Christopher Norris puts the nose of that 38 Ford Mustang to the lead of this race for the first time out here tonight. He's got help from Isaac Shelley directly behind him in that Toyota Supra as we're going to go 3 wide for a moment with Chris Stitz, Malik Kuntz, and Josh Stovall for a moment. Malik Kuntz stuck up on the outside looking for some help.
Seen a couple little bits of contact as everyone tries to make their way around Kuntz. 3 wide pack racing here in Atlanta is no easy feat. It is very difficult, and that's why you don't see it most of the time. Some more contact right there as the 88 gets tagged just a little bit. Everyone gets it sorted through the tri-oval now. Just got to survive this part, get back in line, get resituated, and back in your rhythm. But anytime you see these 3 wide incidents like we've still got going on back here, you are holding on for dear life.
You certainly are, and you're just kind of hoping that you got a spot there. If you're the 14 of Jesse Thornock right now, you're just kind of hoping somebody lets you in. You don't even really want to get help to your rear bumper unless it's within 5 laps to go. Just give me a spot, I'll file back in as these drivers double file back up here on the front stretch. One thing I'm noticing here, Arie, after those first couple of incident cautions, obviously the front of the field still racing very hard, but we've got a little bit of a separation towards the middle of the field here. Ali Fonseca runs in 18th, and then you got kind of maybe about a second and a half gap before you find the second pack here.
That you do. This is a lot of the stragglers in the field. It's a mix of drivers who've gotten damage, drivers who had to check up at this point in the run, so they've kind of lost that lead draft, or drivers who are just playing it a little safe. They still don't trust everything. They still don't want to jump up into the full of it. And, you know, all of those guys are going to kind of be riding around each other, working together, and just ticking off the lap count before they decide it's their time to try and move forward. But, of course, without any predetermined yellows for any stages, that certainly makes it a little more difficult.
Isaac Shelley gets a big push from Josh Stovall up on the outside lane as they're going to try to make their way through to the race lead on board with Chris Stitz pushing the 38 in that purple Ford Mustang coming across the start-finish line. It's going to be dead even down into turn number 1, and it's all the 98 and the 38 up front.
That it is. If you can see the 17 of Stitz all over the back of Christopher Norris right here, delivering some good pushes. Stovall doing some great pushing on the outside line as well. And we can see that 25 car of Cody Reed giving that full car length gap to the driver in front of him. We saw that earlier and even brought it up earlier on the inside line. Cody Reed definitely giving a lot of space to the top 2 in front of him, and it's worked out well so far. I mean, that inside line is not faring poorly whatsoever, and we can even see on the outside Chris Stamper in the 53 doing something similar, kind of that one full car length gap of a buffer, and kind of let the front 2 just do what they're going to do.
The inside lane nose to tail, bumper to bumper with Chris Stitz and Christopher Norris a little bit more formed up than the outside lane is right now. You got Josh Stovall still pushing the 98. They've fallen back to about the second row. Battle now for second place between the 98 and the 17, trying to get back even with the race leader, and they may be able to do it on the exit of turn number 2 here with the momentum as the 98 gets another big push from the 1 of Stovall.
See a little bit more attempting at side drafting from the 98 on the outside line. Isaac Shelley trying to pull that nose ahead. He's actually going to blink out a little bit, a little sketchy. Everyone holds on whenever that happens with a driver. And Christopher Norris is going to get a little tight right here. So now we're starting to see some more signs of handling. And especially when you're on the bottom of the racetrack, that's something you got to be very careful of. If you're the driver on the outside, you don't want to pinch down too much, because if you're pinching the driver on the bottom at the time when that 38 might get a little tight, that's going to be game over.
Another thing that we try to keep this as realistic as possible, Arie, but every time the 98 blinks out just for a second or two, the Josh Stovall doesn't know where he's at, and if he reappears inside of his car, it's going to cause an issue. As we have an issue for Chris Stamper in turn 3 in the wall, the 53. He's going to get into the wall on the exit of turn number 4, lose multiple spots, back down into 20th place and falling.
That he is a result of being forced 3 wide and trying to keep out of everyone on the outside right there. Gets into the wall, and that wall will suck you in very quick. At this point, the outside line is going to lose a lot of momentum. This is going to give an opportunity perhaps to Chris Stitz. If they can get a good enough run through turns 3 and 4, the 98 just gets a good enough push to avoid letting the 17 get clear, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see Stitz jump out in front at the first opportunity.
I really do like the way that the 17 is pushing the 38. Every time he gets to the rear bumper, the pushes are square in the middle of the rear bumper and not getting him out of shape, as we've seen some other drivers push the car in front of him, maybe in a bad spot. The 17 being patient but aggressive with his pushes.
That he is. He's shown to be a really good pusher tonight and even previously in the duels as well. He even talked about it a little bit pre-race, how he worked good as a pusher with the 27 car. 27, of course, had some damage, isn't up in the picture at the moment, but still doing a good job with Christopher Norris in the 38. On the outside line, though, Isaac Shelley, even despite the blinking out issues, getting a great push from the 1. And does the 98 try to clear the bottom? He tried, couldn't quite get there. Issues for the 2 car. Up in the wall, Justin Campbell going to be losing a number of positions as well.
Back up to the race lead, it is all the 98 and the 38, as it has been pretty much since the green flag of this restart. These drivers putting on a great show here tonight from Trinity Racing League as we come across lap number 55 to begin lap number 56.
Through turns 1 and 2, we go about dead even and about right on each other's quarter panels right there and off of the turn. You can see the 98, the Highline as a whole, just kind of taking the whole banking on exit right there, really opening the steering wheel a little bit. That's going to keep those tires feeling a little bit better, as that inside line's got to keep a much tighter angle all the way around that racetrack. And this is starting to become one of our longest green flag runs of the night. I think it actually is at this point our longest green flag run of the night. So now tires are going to start to become more and more of a topic, more and more of a conversation, and I'm excited to see what happens with the handling.
Taking a look at about the top 10 right here, their last pit stop time. So Josh Stovall, last pit on lap number 17. Malik Kuntz, last pit on lap number 17. We've learned from the duels and the clash 2 weeks ago that drivers can go, what was it, about 60 laps on fuel. We're working lap number 58, so we're getting to the upper threshold of what those drivers... Issues.
Big wreck. Sorry to cut you off there, Tom. It looked like it was going to be a big wreck. Where's the 88 car of Nick Renner? He is finally going to bring out the yellow right here. That should have been a multi-car pileup, and I don't know how these drivers in the Trinity Racing League kept that thing from getting any worse than it was, because there was a number of cars bouncing off of one another, and somehow, some way, it looked like the only car that got parked was the 88. Let's go ahead and queue up a replay right here, and let's see if we can't see where this started. The 3 car gives a push to Mike Miller. That stacks up the outside lane right here. 88 into the wall, the 3 into the 7 of Cedric Hunter on the inside. The 14 gets a piece of that. This is right on corner entry, too. This is one of the worst places to have something like this happen. And yet still, I mean, there is definitely some car contact. The 9 is going to need some significant repairs for that hit right there. Great save by the 8. And I guess the 88 just kind of stays up by the wall, but honestly, that could have been so much worse.
Yeah, the cars get so light going into the corners because they're shifting the weight around, and then you get even just the tiniest of bumps here, as we're going to see it here. And the 88 gets up into the outside wall. The 14 of Jesse Thornock, he's got a required repairs on that 14 car. Didn't look like he got too much damage, but iRacing nonetheless is showing required repairs on the 14.
That they are. We could take a look at the 9 car as well. Got some pretty significant damage on that front right. Once we see the 9 kind of circle around right here, I want to see just what that front right's looking like. That is not the place you want to have a hard hit like that, and it doesn't look visually all too bad.
There. Yeah. Maybe some suspension damage there on the right front. You can see it. It looks like it's kind of towed in just a little bit. We'll see as how long his pit stop is, as the entire field on pit road.
Entire field on pit road, indeed. All going to bring it down into their stalls. Surprised the 25 actually got a stop in time. Looked like he was going to slide through just a little bit, but no harm, no foul there. And here we go now. Christopher Norris already done with that pit stop. Going to try and be the first one off. Will the 17 get there first? No. First pit stall for Cody Reed's going to bring him out in P3, and everyone else going to file on in.
All right, Arie, so this kind of puts everybody back on the same strategy. We were just talking about differing strategy and fuel mileage and who can run till when, right when that caution came out. Now, this time, everybody comes down onto pit road for the first time together for the first time tonight. So now this resets us. Drivers can run, well, probably till about lap 120, and that's pretty close to the finish of the race.
That it is. We are now in the window. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of fuel saving from these drivers to try and ensure that they have that little extra that they need. Though, of course, that would be a very long time to try and go on a single set of tires, though. So if we get another yellow between now and then, I would expect drivers to want that set of tires, Tom. But, I mean, if we're going green all the way, try to save some fuel and try to stay out on track.
Couple of drivers coming back down onto pit road this time. Mark Libertone in that 42 looks like he is actually going to park at the entry of pit road. I thought maybe he was coming down for some more fuel, but looks like he's got some damage that he wants to get done on that 42. He's going to continue his journey down pit road here in front of Joshua Sawyer.
Might have had to wait for pit road to open, perhaps, something of the sort. We get ready to restack, repack. Lights are still on for the pace car. We're going to circulate an additional time or so as everyone figures out where they need to be. It's their positions situated. And I tell you what, it almost looks like the fog is rolled in.
Yeah, from up here, from the blimp cam, you can start to see a little bit of haze over the track from the elevated point of view. Down onto the racing surface, looks a little bit clearer, but again, the clouds are back over the speedway.
That they are. As currently leading the race to give you at home an update, Christopher Norris in the 38. He's up 30 positions from where he started this race. Currently our race leader in that Ford Mustang got up here in that last sequence, that last yellow, managed to stay up towards the front this entire last run. Under caution again for the 4th time tonight due to incident. In each of those incidents, it kind of seemed like there should have, could have, would have been more drivers involved, but we keep skating by with only 1 or 2 drivers involved for the most part here. So there are drivers with damage out there on tracks trying to get that figured out, trying to get that sorted, but we haven't really seen the full house of cards come collapsing, as it were.
As we just crossed the halfway point in tonight's race, I want to give a shout out to the halfway sponsor, and that is Apex 50. If you're looking for a fun and relatable sim racing content, SG_racing has you covered. Check out Sam's Apex 50 on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitch. And Sam Garcia out here tonight currently runs in 12th, having a good run. That car is clean so far.
That he is, and that it is. Driver 50 just been kind of driving around, finding a good spot. He's not gone really towards the back at any point, I've noticed. He's kept himself in the conversation just enough, but also just out of the way enough to not risk being involved in anything too crazy. So Garcia still got a great shot at tonight's event. You can see the leader not too far ahead, and speaking of the leader not too far ahead, lights are out on that iRacing.com pace car, and this time by that pace car is going to pull us off of the racing surface and let us get going yet again for what could very well be the finishing run to the race, if last run was any indication, having our longest green flag run.
And what a shot that is going down the backstretch here, Arie. Something I picked up on, see a lot of exhaust pipes lighten up, and that tells me that people are saving fuel every time they hit the clutch and get back on the gas. That little flame's going to come out the passenger side of the car, and now drivers back ready to go racing once again.
That they are. Pace car getting ready to pull off, going to make that sharp left-hand turn. Barney the flagman's got that green flag ready. Field is in the hands of Christopher Norris. 38 on the inside. Cody Reed's going to be leading the outside line as Christopher Norris gets a great jump on the restart. Might even bring Chris Stitz along with him.
The field of 30 going to come down into turn number 1 side by side as everybody stays with the race leader. Pretty good restart here for the 38 of Christopher Norris, Chris Stitz, Isaac Shelley, Cody Reed, Cedric Hunter, the top 5 as they run off of turn number 2.
You saw Shelley in the 98 get a little loose out of turn 2 there, just fractionally. Looks like he got it corralled, got it saved, and no harm, no foul on that one. But it does look like the outside line did not get going the way they would have wanted to. That allows Chris Stitz in the 17 to have the opportunity here, and he's going to take it. He's going to jump out in front of that outside line. We're past halfway now, and I guess he fancies getting some clean air on the nose of that Chevy Camaro.
Keep an eye on that 17, Arie. That was a driver that won a dual race last week. We spoke to him before the start of tonight's race, and he said that he was just going to try to line up with his teammates if he was able to, but showed a lot of speed and muscle last week, and no different tonight here for Stitz, as he is currently up on the outside lane, as we're going to be 3 wide maybe for a moment for 2nd or 3rd place.
Oh, that we are, and it's going to get dicey. The 7 of Cedric Hunter slash the 13 of Cedric Gunner in the middle. And for the first time, we've got multiple drivers on the outside lane. Usually we don't see the outside lane getting help, but now we're going to have 2 drivers out there. Cody Reed in the 25, a little hesitant to jump up into the middle there. He's going to go ahead and fill that gap and try and push Cedric Hunter out front, and this is going to potentially be disaster for Chris Stitz and Isaac Shelley on the outside lane, unless something crazy might happen right here. The inside line of Christopher Norris going to get a little dicey, and all of a sudden, Tom, we're 3 wide, a couple rows deep.
Isaac Shelley gets into the wall on the exit of turn number 2. He's going to bounce out of it and lose a couple of positions, but he's able to slot back in to a top 10 running position. Chris Stitz, now the lone wolf up on the top shelf of the Speedway with no help in his mirror.
Fortunately, he's able to find an opening, a big enough opening to jump all the way back down to the bottom of the racetrack, does the 17, and now up front, we are good to go. The clouds are going to dissipate, and the sun is back out as that bright pink race car leads this field. Cody Reed's going to get shuffled out, and here comes Ollie Fonseca.
Are we starting to see a little bit of handling issues that we saw in duel number 2 last week, Ari? You got to start to wonder, a lot of these drivers on the inside maybe starting to push up a little bit. That's what we saw more so in duel 2 last week than duel 1. And, well, that was a lot of fun to watch last week. And Cedric Hunter going to lead this lap here, but these cars looking very unstable as we begin lap number 67.
That they are. It could be a mix of handling issues along with bumps at weird times on the outside line. All very possible. And as it sits right now, Christopher Norris looking pretty good on the inside line, just kind of running his race, getting some help from Mike Miller in the 99 just behind him as we make our way through turns 3 and 4 right here. Looks like the field's kind of settled out, both of the lanes. Oh, I say that, and then there's a little contact, and now we might be 3 wide again.
3 wide at the front of the field. Ollie Fonseca gets up here, and he's going to get a bump from the 53. A Stamper gets a little sideways. He's going to be able to hang on to it, but the entire top 5, they're going to settle out before you find some more 2 wide racing directly behind him with Malik Kuntz, Stamper, and Ryan Kelly.
I tell you what, Tom, at the rate this race is going, we might need to stick with the blimp for the entire rest of the duration just to catch all of what is happening. Just a lap ago, the entire field was packed nose to tail, both lanes, and now here we are, all sorts of out of sorts and shuffled around. And at the moment, Mike Miller in the 99 is going to be the lead car on the inside line, getting some push from Josh Stovall in the 1, who's made his name reappear up towards the front now. And that outside line starting to get a little recouped right here, trying to catch back up to one another. But I think with each one of these bumps, with each one of these little hiccups and close calls, these drivers are starting to get a little more hesitant.
Drivers come across the start-finish line. Christopher Norris on the outside lane. Mike Miller on the inside lane. Norris was leading the race earlier in tonight's race before we saw the most recent yellow flag. And Mike Miller's kind of been up towards the front the entirety of tonight's event. But you got Josh Stovall on the inside line, followed by Cedric Hunter on the outside line, running in row number 2.
That we do, and gonna get a close call as Stovall gets really tight on corner entry right there, drifts up the track. We do keep it going, and to your point, Mike Miller has been up towards the front for pretty much the entire night so far, through the varying strategies, through the pit stops, through the chaos. That 99 car has been in the picture, and let's not forget, you and I were talking about it before the race, but Mike Miller in the 99 put down the most laps in practice today, went out there and was determined to make sure that he felt comfortable behind the wheel, both on his own and in the pack in the draft, and it looks like it's been paying off.
He most certainly did. We made mention of it just about 20 minutes into the practice session, and you said, wow, Mike has already run 35 laps here in the opening minutes of practice, and it's showing off. Mike Miller leads the race with the commanding lead for second place.
In control of both lanes should he choose to do so, but at the moment looking comfortable on the inside lane. And I tell you what, Josh Stovall, that first car right behind him, driving that 1 car, is looking a little squirrely. He's kind of getting tight in the corners. He's kind of a little squirrely down the back straightaway, trying to figure out what he needs to do to be a good pusher to the back of that 99. All the while, Christopher Norris, Cedric Hunter on the outside, they're starting to put a run together to try and retake the lead.
Lap 73 in the books here as we begin 74 of 123 out here tonight. The race is rapidly coming into the closing stages of tonight's event. Next week, we're going to be live here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network, but we're going to be at Kansas Speedway If you want to get notified when we go live, make sure you hit the like button, get subscribed, and get notified every single time we go live here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network, as we're going to be bringing you all the racing action from the Trinity Racing League every single Monday night from now until their championship.
Oh, car in the wall. That's going to be Isaac Shelley in the 98. Does get it back off of the wall. Does find a spot to slide in right in front of Ben Kinney right there. And what could have been much worse. That was a pretty hard hit for the 98. He'll be hoping that there is no lingering suspension issues from that one. But so far, so good. Getting back into line as we come off of turn 4 right here. And Mike Miller has gotten a full car clear ahead of the top lane.
Now let's keep in mind here, Arie, so for the duels and the class, drivers were made aware that they were allowed to go below the red and white line on the front stretch to try to advance a pass. We saw it last week with multiple drivers going down there as the race came to a close. If you're Mike Miller, if you're Josh Stovall right now, that's got to be in the back of your mind. Obviously, we've still got more than enough laps to go before it becomes a real issue, but in the closing laps out here, it's got to be something to think about.
Oh, it absolutely does, and I think that might even play into the hands of the outside lane. I think it's a unique situation here. If you're Christopher Norris, you don't have to worry about that potential move from Cedric Hunter behind you. Sure, Cedric could try to send it 3 wide. We've seen that go pretty poorly for anyone who's done it so far tonight, but you don't have an entire apron below you that somebody could just shoot the gap for, and so you can kind of feel a little safer. You can kind of race with that knowledge. If you're Mike Miller in first place, you know, all it takes is a decision from Josh Stovall to turn a little bit more left, and he's got so much real estate to use to the inside of you to try and make that move happen. So you definitely got to be a little more careful, a little more on edge if you're in that bottom lane.
You do, and the top side also needs to be careful not to leave the middle lane open that you were talking about. But we've also seen drivers take a little bit of liberties and be a little brave and try to take that third lane and make the outside work. So I don't know which lane I prefer to be in as the laps start to close down here because any lane is vulnerable any way you look at it.
That it is, and historically I have always been a high-line racer myself when it comes to these drafting tracks, but there is something to be said for the fact that I haven't really figured out this new Atlanta as well, so maybe don't take my advice on it, but, you know, you put me at Daytona Talladega, I like the outside line is the one that moves, and at the moment, the one that's moving is the inside lane, as Christopher Norris leading that outside just cannot quite figure out what they need to do. Mike Miller continuing to sit real nice out in front, but something that we're going to circle back around to right here, Tom, is the fuel situation. Given we heard drivers saving under yellow, we were just around the number to make it to the end after that caution when everyone came down. If you're Mike Miller and you're leading this race out front, you can't save fuel like everyone behind you can.
That is true, and also you could say the same thing for Christopher Norris. These drivers are not able to save fuel, as we see a couple of drivers into the outside wall in turns 3 and 4. Looks like Thomas Green, Isaac Shelley. So yeah, going back to the fuel here, Arie. Yeah, I mean, it becomes difficult for these race leaders. We're going to have to see if at any point do they give up a spot. If he's able to slide up and let the one of Josh take the lead here for a couple of laps, does he slot right back in?
Going to be interesting to see as these drivers start to close in a little more on one another. It looks like this pack is starting to get formed up a lot tighter than what we've seen up to this point in this run. And now starting to use the apron just a little bit more on that inside line. I noticed that Mike Miller really takes a wider arc through the tri-oval than what Josh Stovall does. And regardless of whether or not the one car is looking to make a move to the inside, I wonder if that's going to be one of those incidents where they kind of come together at the wrong time. And speaking of, I think I'll stop talking now because I might be commentator cursing that one.
Big slide for the 99. He got a push from the one Stovall on the exit to turn number 2, but everybody's managed to hang on to it and keep these Camaros going straight. Great job by the race leaders, Stovall and Miller.
And it looks like we're going to be 3 wide for half a second. The 3-car tucks back into Lion Thomas Green, of course, involved in an incident earlier today. Good to see him back in the lead pack on that outside line. Nearly in a risky 3-wide situation, but we get it corralled again and kind of back to what we've been seeing since that last yellow. But I guess this time Christopher Norris starting to learn a little bit. He's using a little more side draft now that he's gotten back alongside the 98, trying to be a little more aggressive.
Some of these drivers are going to have to work through in the upcoming laps here. They're going to be catching a group of about 7 or 8 cars probably in the next 2 or 3 laps, and we have not really seen them have to make their way around lap traffic all night tonight, so we'll see how they manage to do that once they do get there. But Christopher Norris hangs tight up on the outside lane. He's looking for a little bit more help from the 13 of Hunter directly behind him.
Starting to notice some more drivers getting a little squirrely in the middle of the corners. That time I noticed particularly Thomas Green in the 3 car had to save just a little bit of oversteer right there, and you can watch these drivers race through turns 1 and 2 right here and just see how much they're struggling to kind of stay planted in their lane to try and stay closed up to the bumper of the guy in front of them. All it takes is that rear end to step out just a little bit, and you're going to get a little snap of oversteer that you got to correct. You got to get out of the gas just a little bit. That's going to halt your momentum. It's going to check up everyone behind you. We can even see that happening again with the 3 car right here, causing the field to go 3 wide through the tri-oval. They're going to get it sorted. Fortunately, everyone's giving each other enough room, enough breathing space at the moment. As I say that, and then the 19 is going to go send it 3 wide on the 3 car. But nonetheless, that's only going to last for so long here as we work lap 86 of 123, and we have lap traffic just ahead.
Christopher Norris still getting help from the 13, but Josh Stovall in second, going to slide up just a little bit, almost make contact with the 38 of Norris through the north end of the speedway in turns 3 and 4. They're going to come out of it. No harm, no foul, just close door-to-door racing here at EchoPark Speedway. And now here, Arie, we have got a group of 4 cars directly in front of the race leaders that they're going to have to make their way around.
That we do, and it looks like they've gotten mostly single-filed out, which is probably wise. We see the 9 car is actually going to pull down onto the apron. Good heads-up move from Stephen Clapp. You, of course, don't have to do that as a lap-down car. You're entitled to fight for your lap, but the 9 says, you know what, I don't want to cause any trouble, get me out of here. The other 3 just ahead, well, I think it's no better time to use the old blimp camera. Let's see how this affects the field, as that is a huge speed difference for Mike Miller, Josh Stovall, Christopher Norris to be making it through. And not only that, you have 2 cars on the inside, 1 on the outside.
Cedric Hunter and Chris Stitz try to get skinny as they're almost 4 wide on the entry into turn number 3, and we're still 3 wide. Malik Kuntz goes around in the entry to turn number 3.
And that is going to bring out the yellow. Oh, Shelley in the 98 gets tagged up to the outside wall. And somehow, some way, this is only a 2-car incident. And what could have been so much worse with these drivers trying to navigate that lap traffic right there. Caution is out for the 5th time tonight on lap 88. Taking a look at the 33 of Kuntz right here. Let's go ahead and queue up our replay. We can see just how crazy it was. And I tell you what, the blimp was probably a pretty good shot for it. You can see on the left hand of your screen these drivers navigating their way through. A good heads-up driving for the race leaders to kind of check up, give each other room. They let everyone make their way through kind of one at a time. They avoided any 4 wide. It looks like the 06 is just going to kind of drift up into the 33 on corner entry right there. It's a tough situation, Tom. You know, whether you're the 33 or the 06 in this position, there's so much going on. There's lap cars, everyone's checking up, and it all just happens real fast.
Yeah, it's a difficult situation. David Reichman getting lapped as the field was coming around him. Malik Kuntz, he's going to go off the quarter panel of the 06. The 98 of Shelley gets involved. The 27 of Jared Talmadge. Looks like he's going to get stopped in time. Ben Kinney, believe he is going to get out of here A-OK. Thomas Green takes a hard left-hand turn down the banking to avoid any sort of contact. But yeah, difficult spot to be in here.
That brings out the caution for the 5th time, and we see every single driver back on pit road. So no more fuel questions, and probably no more tire questions, to be honest with you, Tom, though. I do foresee, I suppose, if we're going to restart at around lap 91, you know, we go maybe 20 laps, you might still want those tires before the end, but fuel is out of the question. Everyone's got enough to make it to the end from here, and that track position is going to be more important than ever.
Mike Miller wins the race off of pit road, followed by Chris Norris, then Chris Stitz, Josh Stovall in 4th. Ali Fonseca rounds out the top 5 off of pit road. Chris Stamper, Ryan Kelly, Cedric Hunter, Justin Campbell, Joshua Sawyer, the top 10 off of pit road.
While we're under yellow circulating this time around, lap 89 as the field gets caught up to the iRacing.com pace car. I want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors here in the Trinity Racing League, Orchid Ink Tattoo Studio. Follow Orchid Ink Tattoo on and Tattoos by Paulie on Instagram for a one-stop shop for custom full-color tattoos, stickers, paintings, and more. And I tell you what, I am a fan of color tattoos. I've got a couple of my own. I like having that sponsor around.
You like all the sponsors. You like Taco Bell. You like the tattoo sponsors.
What can I say? You should see my
Buc-ee's?
you should see my Barks root beer car that I race.
Oh goodness! I just imagine next to your whiteboard, you probably got a jug of Barks sitting right next to you.
Oh,
there.
I got a 12-pack of Barks. I keep at least one at all times, right next to my mini fridge.
Field does their lane selection here as we are one to go on this restart here. Mike Miller elects to take the inside lane. Christopher Norris takes the outside lane. Josh Stovall inside on row number 2, followed by Stitz outside row number 2.
Lights are out on the iRacing.com pace car. We're going to get this race restarted coming to lap 91 of 123. A reminder that if it comes into play, we do have 3 attempts at NASCAR overtime. That means if the caution were to come out late enough in the race that it would extend the length of it, we will do so at least 3 times in an attempt to finish this race under green flag conditions. If we can't do it within that space because the caution keeps coming out, it will finally be determined by the order on that 3rd and final attempt. On the front row, it's going to be Mike Miller, Christopher Norris as we gear up for the next restart.
Checking out onto our YouTube chat box before we go green flag racing out here. Let us know how your favorite driver's doing. See some picks out there for Arie Fonseca, Cody Reed. We got one for Sam Dyer, name we haven't said too much out here tonight. Sam runs back in 21st, having a quiet night out here. So far tonight, Josh Stovall has a fan out in chat, runs 3rd.
Pace car is off, sharp left-hand turn down on the pit road. Field is in the hands of Mike Miller in the 99. Into the restart zone we go, and Mike Miller is going to hit that gas pretty early, bring the inside line with him. Curious to see if Josh Stovall gets clear. He does. Is he going to take this opportunity? And it looks like Arie Fonseca is going to get clear as well.
Yeah, I mean, I like this opportunity now. Now that we don't have to worry about fuel, control the line, right? Be the one that they have to get around here, as it looks like Stovall's actually going to stick with the 99 on the inside line here. Fonseca, he's going to take the opportunity to jump up to the outside lane and put pressure on the lead for Mike Miller.
I'm really surprised that Stovall did not take the opportunity to do that. They could have all just run around Mike Miller. If you're the race leader, when something like that happens, when the lanes get broken up, you're kind of a sitting duck. You can fall all the way back to the back reaches of the top 10 that easily, but Stovall stays with the 99. That's going to allow Fonseca on the outside with help from Hunter to now lead that charge, and these drivers, they're all working for fresh tires, so they are going to be at max aggression.
You see nose to tail, no daylight in between the 1 and the 99. Is Justin Campbell going to have an issue in turns 3 and 4? He's going to get up into the outside retaining wall and try to keep his momentum. He's going to slot back in to about the 12th place running position. But up front, it is all Mike Miller, Josh Stovall, and Arie Fonseca up at the front of the field.
Is this the part in the race, Tom? Do you think we're late enough that we get rid of the give and take?
Turn into a grab and go? Is that what you're saying?
I think that's what I'm saying, as you like to say so frequently. And I tell you what, we haven't had the real big kerfuffle yet that we that we usually look for as well, if we're both going to throw our things out there as we approach lap 100 here before too long. It is absolutely go time, and you can even see it. These drivers are on 4 brand new tires, and they're still sliding around the racetrack like crazy because they are pushing now at 95, 96, 97%, trying to get up there, trying to get the track position.
Cedric Hunter behind the 24 of Arie Fonseca in a similar position to what we saw for the majority of the last green flag run. Finds himself running in second on the outside lane, second car in line on the outside lane, I should clarify. He's been in this position before, different car in front of him this time, and that kind of changes the game plan for the 13 of Hunter here. He now has to kind of adapt here to Ollie in front of him as opposed to whoever it was before.
I tell you what, Tom, Thomas Green in the 3 car wants to make the outside lane work, and he's going to lure Christopher Norris up there to try and get that really high lane working. We're late enough in the race that these drivers want to go 3-wide racing, and that is when it starts to get extremely sketchy. I've been watching Green over the last couple of laps. He keeps poking that nose out here. He finally has somebody who's kind of taking the bait, who's going to jump up in front of him and get this lane going, and you can already see Christopher Norris and Thomas Green, they're going to make a lot of inroads off of corner exit each time. This high line right up against the wall gets a lot of momentum coming off of the banking. They just got to hope that everyone can keep their race cars good, clean, straight, and not in one another.
And it takes two very capable race car drivers like Christopher Norris and Thomas Green to make lane number 3 work here. And you didn't see any movement out of the 38 or the 3 as they push their way through turns 3 and 4, and now through 1 and 2. Again, they're making headway with just those 2 cars in line over the cars with 3 or 4 cars in line.
Now Mike Miller on the inside leading this race has something else to think about. He is now the only car clear, 3 wide, 2 rows deep behind you. If you're Mike Miller, what do? Heading through the tri-oval right here as Christopher Norris is going to try and get himself up in the picture to lead this race once more.
Arie Fonseca in the middle on row number 2, but you can see a little bit of separation now between the 38 and the 3 as they race down the backstretch here. But here comes Thomas Green. He's going to close the distance on the back bumper of that 38. And I tell you what, with this momentum here, the middle line is kind of falling apart. The outside lane's going to have the momentum. You may see a run from the 38 of Norris.
You could very well, and Fonseca now is clear of the outside lane. Does he elect to jump up on that far lane as well? He's going to stay in the middle. He had a big gap right there where he didn't have the help from Hunter. He sticks with what he knows. In the middle of the racetrack right here, he can kind of side draft that inside line. Does Stovall move up finally now that he's got the opportunity?
Christopher Norris and Thomas Green, they've lost a couple of rows of advantage, but now they've got some more help starting to line up directly behind them. They've fallen back to about the 3rd row in line on track for about the 9th place position. Up front, it's all Mike Miller. Josh Stovall runs 1-2 with Arie Fonseca up on the outside as the lead car.
This is about as tight together as we have seen the pack all night tonight. Working lap 100 now with only 23 to go. Mike Miller continuing to control this race. Arie Fonseca leading that middle line, which is now just about the outside line as the efforts from Christopher Norris and Thomas Green have all but fallen short. Norris still on the outside trying to make something work, and it might not be the end of the 3-wide action.
Now you start to see this inside lane use the apron a little bit more liberally than what they were previously doing. You saw the 99 of Miller go down there. You saw the 1 of Stovall follow him down there. You saw the 17 of Chris Stitz follow the 2 drivers in front of him. So these drivers starting to think about the opportunities down below the apron as we start to close into the final 20 laps of racing out here tonight.
You see the 3 of Thomas Green getting real loose on that 3rd lane up against the wall, trying to get it work. Isaac Shelley's going to dive down underneath and say, I don't think it's going anywhere, as these drivers look to get sorted back 2 by 2 all the way through. And we're continuing to see a lot of very, very close racing out of that top 4 in particular. Mike Miller, Arie Fonseca on the front row, and then of course we've got Josh Stovall, Cedric Hunter, the 2 pushers right behind. Everyone else, they're just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen here.
I tell you what, Arie, could that have been a little bit of a trial by Christopher Norris and Thomas Green? We saw them march their way forward, slide back a little bit, and now we're starting to see some more drivers get back up onto that 3rd row, particularly the 38 of Norris.
Well, I tell you what, Tom, I'm surprised it took you 103 laps to fit in trial tonight, but I knew the second you said it, and you know what? I think it was a little bit of a trial run right there, and I think these drivers are going to take note of that attempt. And I think the one thing that you gotta keep in mind more than anything is just how successful it was at first. Just with the 2 of those drivers, if you get a 3rd driver committed, that 3rd lane can really do good. But you have to have drivers who can hold a very steady line, and you've got to have at least 3 drivers that are committed. We've seen 2 kind of work, and it's just going to be a matter of, oh, bad push right there. The 99 gets put back into line right there. Good heads-up driving from everyone to avoid making that any worse, but it's crunch time.
It is crunch time, and these drivers know it as they are going to see 18 laps to go this time by as they cross the start-finish line. Mike Miller up front, Arie Fonseca on the outside lane. Josh Stovall, kind of in the catbird seat, sits on the inside lane of row number 2, but Cedric Hunter in a familiar position that he's been all night, 2nd car on the outside.
18 laps to go as we see the 19 of Sawyer dive down underneath the racing surface, gets settled back in line further back in the pack as we race. These top 4 still right on top of one another. Chris Stitz in that 17, Ryan Kelly in the 13. They've been very quietly positioning themselves on that inside line, just kind of waiting, riding, and not getting themselves involved in anything too crazy right here. And we can't count those guys out, especially given the opportunities that the inside line is going to have to use that apron to make it 3 wide.
As we start to think about 15 laps to go here in the next lap or two here, Arie, where do you want to position yourself to be in the closing 10 laps, 5 laps, 3 laps, and finally the white flag?
Well, I tell you what, I really don't hate the position that Josh Stovall is in right now. He has the opportunity on 1 lap to go, on, you know, coming to the checker flag, whatever it is, whenever he decides. He has the opportunity, so long as he's second on the inside, to dive below Mike Miller and take away that track position on the inside. We've got a big one on the back straightaway.
Hunter has issues. Multiple cars go around. Looks like Cedric Hunter may get the worst of it.
That he does. Let's go ahead and queue up a replay here if we can, and take a look at what happened here. We can already see the 13 is got a little bit of oversteer. He's battling in the middle of the corner, getting a little loose. Oh, looks like the 53
Gonna be a little
Stamper.
bit of contact with the 53 of Stamper. Joshua Sawyer, Isaac Shelley going to get some contact in there as well. About a 4-car incident there. We'll take a closer look at this incident. You could already see the back of the 13 starting to dance around a little bit. The 53 is going to make a little bit of contact here with the left rear quarter panel of Cedric.
Coming out of turn 2 right here, maybe looking to fill the gap, maybe not realizing just when he's going to push that 13 right there. It, of course, happens a lot faster than what we see right here in slow motion, but that's going to trigger the incident right there. And then Stamper gets through it. You can see from on board looking backwards. A couple other drivers. Shelley in the 98 gets a little piece of it. Most everyone gets through unscathed, kind of avoiding it. I know the 19 of Sawyer ended up in the wall just a little bit as well. And now we get pit stops. A little bit of a split strategy.
Split strategy here. Justin Campbell from 6th place going to be the first one in. Looks like the top 8 cars here, Noah Steele and Thomas Green, going to be the last 2 cars on pit road that stay out here.
And this is pretty much exactly 20 laps after that last pit stop. I kind of hinted at it at the time. You know, maybe we go 20 laps and you want some more tires for the end. Well, here we are exactly on the number, and it looks like 7 drivers on track electing to take the track position. Most of those 7 were effectively the top 7 as it ran already, just not wanting to give up the track position they already had. Everyone else, they said, you know what, we don't have the track position anyway. Why don't we come down, get some tires, and make the most of it. It's going to be 4 fresh tires for every single driver who came down on pit road this time by, led off by Justin Campbell in the 2-car, Chris Stamper, Samuel Garcia, and the rest.
I like the 20-lap better tires here, Arie. So the top 7, the top 7, last pit on lap number 89. These drivers came down lap number 109. So 20-lap better tires, and they were racing pretty aggressively out here. You know, as you say, the push comes to a shove and something like that, but they were pushing pretty hard out there, and we saw a couple of drivers start to slide up a little bit. I do like the 20-lap better tires.
I do like the tires as well. There's only so much you can do with that, though, if both lanes in front of you are on older tires. That being said, if you have those 20-lap newer tires, you better be willing to make that third lane work, because if you go up there with those 20-lap better tires with a couple others that are also in the same boat, oh boy, that would be real fun to watch.
Expect to see the lights go out off the pace car this time by. We're going to give a quick shout out to the title sponsor of the Trinity Racing League, and that is Larry Arts Productions. It's a comedy variety YouTube channel with content ranging from stop motion videos, vlogs, live stream, more. Check out all the insanity that Larry produces on YouTube at Larry Arts Productions. Head on over there, give them a like and a subscribe.
I like it when a sponsor has a car on track as well, and then we can just like zoom the camera in on that on that race car, and it works all nicely.
All right, so let's restack the field here, as we're going to have probably just about 12 laps to go or so once we see the green flag next time by. Mike Miller the race leader as they run right now, Arie Fonseca, elects to take the outside lane instead of the inside lane. Remember, he has lane choice. Josh Stovall, Chris Stitz, Ryan Kelly, the top 5. The first couple of cars with tires, that's going to be Chris Stamper, Justin Campbell, Samuel Garcia, and Cody Reed.
All right, here we go then. It is go time for every single one of these drivers. If you have the track position right now, you're doing everything you can to hold on to it, put yourself in position to win. And if you don't have the track position right now, you are scrambling to try and figure out any route forward that you can find. Let's not forget that third driver on the outside lane, Thomas Green, one of the drivers most willing to make that third lane work. He keeps trying it over and over and over. Watch for that 3 car to try and do something up there as the pace car makes the hard left-hand turn.
We're going to find out together who's it going to be at the end of tonight's race. Miller, Fonseca, Stovall, or somebody else. Everybody comes into the restart zone, and we're going to see 12 laps to go.
Looks like Chris Stitz is going to jump down to the inside lane right away in that 17. Does not fancy the outside lane, nor does Thomas Green in the 3 car. That outside lane could not get going. The 3 does jump back out there to try and form something, but this is 3 cars on the inside clear.
3, maybe 4 as they race down the backstretch here. Chris Stitz tries to clear himself on the 24 of Fonseca. Not able to do it just yet. He's got help from Green on the outside lane, and Stamper not too far behind.
Coming out of turn 4 this time, it's going to be Ryan Kelly who jumps out in front of that outside lane in that 13 car now. Let's see Ryan Kelly go up there and trying to lead this race. Remember, he started on the front row at the start of this race. He's kept his race car clean, kept his name up towards the front in the conversation, and now he's got an opportunity to lead that lane. Arie Fonseca on the 24 is going to be the pusher.
Arie Fonseca looks to get closed up to the race lead as we have an issue for Isaac Shelley and Cedric Hunter on the backstretch here. Terminal damage for the 98. That is a motor blown, and the 13 as well as yellow flag is out over the speedway.
Let's see if we can... Oh, well, I guess that answers it.
Very similar to the last issue we saw.
I want to say, let's see if we can't go back a little further even and see what happened here. Entering turn number 1. It looks like the 13 on the back of the 6, he's going up the banking as he enters the corner and then tries to kind of pull it down. And when you're pulling the steering wheel that hard after getting up on the banking, you can really lose that rear end. I think that gets the 13 sideways. The 0-5, wrong place, wrong time for Scott Rickard. The 42's got nowhere to go. I'm curious to see where the 98 comes into play right here as the 13 gets back up into the wall, and it might be right here diving back down the track. Shelley's just got, oh my god, nowhere to go. Reminiscent of Talladega a couple years ago. In the real world, that hit right there, that is going to be terminal damage for the 98.
Right on board here, if we're able to. From Isaac Shelley's point of view, as it looks like we're having an issue pulling him up here. We'll try one more time here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network and see if we can't grab a view from the 98. No, you know what? He is disconnected from the server, and I think iRacing does not want to show that replay, so issues for the 98 that ends his night early.
We've got more drivers on pit road this time around. It's all drivers who have damage of some sort, looking to get it all fixed towards the back of the field, so the positions on track remain effectively the same. We've still got our 7 drivers who stayed out for track position in the top 7, and those drivers who took those tires, those 4 fresh tires, 8th on back, still waiting for the opportunity to get up there. But with each caution, we cross off a number of laps that they could be using under green flag conditions.
And we also bring ourselves a little bit closer to an overtime finish, Arie. Now, we don't expect fuel to be an issue if we do get a green-white checkered, but the tension certainly starts to raise up when you see the overtime notification come across the driver's screen.
Absolutely the case. And man, I feel like we've got to give a tip of the hat to the top 2 right now. Mike Miller, Josh Stovall, those 2 have been in control of this race on that inside lane for so long at this point, through multiple restarts, through multiple different drivers coming up and giving them challenges on the outside, on the inside, on the 3rd lane. And these 2 have stuck together. They've managed to keep themselves in the right place at the right time. hooked up and keeping the lead. And these two are going to be two of our drivers with the best chance as we hit the closing laps.
Is this the part of the race, though, that they split up where Stovall takes the outside or does the opposite of the 99? No, they're actually going to both elect to take the outside lane here. So flip of the strategies from what we have seen from the 99 and the 1.
That's really interesting. That is a very...
I would have thought Stovall was taking the opposite all day long.
Well, I tell you what. Joshua Stovall, Mike Miller, they are teammates racing together in Discord at the moment. I was wondering if maybe the 3-car was also, but no. You'll have to forgive Tom and I getting used to everyone in their teams and everything. But this is interesting. I mean, I guess they wanted... No, they were running 1-2, so I don't know. That's very interesting, Tom, given how good the bottom lane has been on restarts.
And Ryan Kelly has been... Well, keep in mind, for the majority of the time, the inside has been the control car. So the outside lane will be the control lane here, so we would expect to see them fire first. Now, being in the same Discord channel with like the 99 and the 1, they'll be able to verbally communicate that to each other and kind of count each other down and say, all right, I'm going in 3, 2, all right, go. And that's going to help the outside lane try to jump up in front of the 13. But what do they do with the 3 of Thomas Green? Do they drag him along? Where does the 24 go? All of these questions need answers.
And we're about to get those answers, as for the 7th time, the pace car is going to take that sharp left-hand turn, and we're going to get this green flag out once again. Barney's got it ready. Field is in the hands of the outside lane leader, Mike Miller, and teammate Josh Stovall. They're going to get a great restart as we get back up to speed. Now, is Ryan Kelly going to stay to the inside of the 1 car? So far, so good.
He is going to stay to the inside, but the 99 of Mike Miller is going to drop down, leave Stovall up on the outside lane. Thomas Green trying to close the gap to the 1 who's now leading the outside lane, but a couple of rows deep.
Okay, so here we go then. It looks like the teammates might be electing to lead both lanes right here with this choice. Now, this all falls apart if Ryan Kelly elects to take the outside lane. He's looking, he's thinking about it. He doesn't do it. And it's going to allow Stovall to get that run on the outside lane right here. They might be thinking, hey, if we both are leading the lanes, one of us will end up winning it, assuming we go green. So here we go then. The outside lane is going to get formed up on the outside. Thomas Green, the 2nd car back. We got the 53 of Chris Stamper there as well. And now it is all go.
Don't say hey now, but you got Cody Reed running 4th on the outside lane. The winner of the Clash a couple of weeks ago, and we're going to see if he's able to march his way forward. First car on fresh tires out here is the 53 of Chris Stamper, 3rd car following Thomas Green in the 3.
I tell you what, Tom, all 3 of our winners up to this point in the season are running in the top 8. We've got the pole sitter included in that as well, and I don't think that's a coincidence. These guys have proven that they know what to do here in Atlanta, and it looks like, I thought for a second maybe the 53 was going to look at 3 wide in the middle, but we get it all sorted out right here. Mike Miller continues to lead now with help from Ryan Kelly, but again, being on the inside line, you've got to start cutting that apron every time because you do not want somebody to peek that nose down there.
Next time by, we're going to see 3 laps of racing to go as Thomas Green gets a little bit of a push and a shove from the 53 of Stamper. Yellow flag is out. That's going to send us into an overtime.
That it is. Issues for the 16 of Kanata and others. I don't see a ton of damage on that race car, just a little bit of slide. Oh, we've got a lot of damage on Reichman just ahead. Let's go ahead and see if we can't find a replay, figure out exactly what happened here. Oh, it looks like it starts already. Entry into turn 1. We got the 9, the 51, the 27, all sort of coming together here. We'll jump with the 16 just ahead. They're kind of dicing it up. The 42 of Labertone gets into the 9. Goes around, and then... Okay, it looks like Kanata just goes for a little bit of a spin. Great job keeping that out of the inside wall.
Maybe locked up the front tires there. No damage on the 16. But heavy damage on the 05 of, or the 06 of Reichman. As you see, that hood starting to come apart on that Toyota Supra.
That we do. I'll tell you what, fight $1 for every time Kanata was in or around an incident at Atlanta. Here we are then,
Couple
back.
of cars making their way down onto pit road. Couple of cars that were involved in this incident. The entire top 10, the entire top 15, going to stay out on the track here. And well, Arie, now we're going to go into an overtime finish out here. Your Mike Miller's second place is now going to be Ryan Kelly. Ryan Kelly's going to have first grabs at choosing the opposite lane and taking the track position. What does Josh Stovall do here? Does Ryan Kelly elect to take the inside lane, knowing that if he does that, it gives him the opportunity to jump down onto the apron on the front stretch? There's a whole lot of questions and answers.
There is. And I tell you what, Tom, if I'm Ryan Kelly, given restarts on the sim here in iRacing, given restarts tonight, it might sound crazy, but if I'm Ryan Kelly, I don't want the front row. I want to restart right behind the 99 wherever he elects to start, because I know he's going to be the first driver to go, which gives me a good opportunity to make sure that I stay the second car and I get to choose from that point on coming out of turn 2. So if you're asking me, I'm staying. I'm going, picking whatever the 99 picks, and I'm going to stay right with him there. And at that point, I think Stovall's got to take the front row, but we'll see how it all plays out this time around. At the start finish line, we will see the choose in effect.
Another thing that it would do, if Ryan Kelly elects to start behind the 99, whether that's on the inside lane or the outside lane as the control car, it's also going to break up the teammates of the 99 and the 1.
That it is, and that's going to be important as well. You know, if you're trying to race two teammates, that they are not going to abandon one another if it comes down to it for a race win versus yourself. So if you get them split up, it's every man for themselves, and at that point you increase your odds as opposed to going up against a teammate. But let's not forget that not too much further back in the field, running in 8th place at the moment, so that last restart didn't work out all the greatest, but Chris Stitz in the 17 is Ryan Kelly's teammate, someone that he'll be looking for to try and find their way up there. And it looks like Ryan Kelly is going to take the front row, going to leave that outside, so those teammates, they're going to stick together on the inside.
That's going to put the teammates of the 1 and 9 on the 99 together here on what may be the final restart. You got Thomas Green. He's going to jump up a couple of positions, take the inside lane here, as well as I want to say that's Noah Steele directly behind, or Chris Stitz, excuse me, in the 4th place on the inside line. Ali Fonseca, he's going to take the outside lane here, and well, I think we're up for a showdown here, Arie.
Oh, we are. First points race of the season, and we're going to figure this out in NASCAR overtime. Mike Miller, Ryan Kelly on the front row, Josh Stovall, Ali Fonseca on the second row, Thomas Green, Chris Stitz make up the 3rd row. Is our winner one of those 6 is our winner? Somebody further back in the field? All will be revealed in time. Lights are out on that pace car. Going to take that sharp left-hand corner at the exit of turn 4 here, and we're going to crown a winner.
32 cars started tonight's race, 21 still on the lead lap as we get set to go. Green flag racing in overtime here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network.
Back in the field up quite a bit is Mike Miller in the 99, getting ready for this restart. Teammate right behind him and Josh Stovall in that 1 car. Expect that inside line to get a good jump. Barney the Flagman's got that green flag ready. Into the restart zone we go. Onto the loud pedal we have it, and it looks like the field is going to stay about even up through the gears.
Stamper may drop down to the inside lane here, and that would leave 2 cars on the outside lane here with Fonseca and Ryan Kelly, but Stovall and Mike Miller lead through turns 1 and 2.
Ryan Kelly did a great job to maintain that side draft going through turns 1 and 2. Did not want to let those teammates get too far out ahead. Thomas Green's going to jump up to the outside lane right here, as now it's going to come down to turn 3 and 4, and oh, they get together, and there's going to be a big wreck coming out of turn 4. Race lead. We are still green, and there is the white flag in the air. Down into turn 1 we roll. Here comes Chris Stitz in the 17.
Justin Campbell not far behind him. He's going to give him a shove through turns 1 and 2. And now it's the 2 and the 57 of Thomas Walter and Stamper up on the outside as they race down the backstretch into turn 3. Momentum to the top side with Stamper.
Campbell's got nowhere to go but to help the 17 as we come out of turn number 4 for the final time. Chris Stitz has to worry about the 2 car. He covers him off to the inside, and Chris Stitz sideways across the line wins it in EchoPark.
Incredible finish, 3 wide, reminiscent of last week's race at the duels. Chris Stitz picks up dual win number 2 last week, and he's going to pick up the first points paying race win of the season for the 17. Now, is this coming out of turn number? This is coming out of turn number 4 here. We'll take a slow look at this finish out here. So Chris Stitt's going to protect the bottom onto the inside apron, and then the 2 gets a little bit of help from Thomas Walter directly behind him and gets a little sideways into the side of the 17. But at the line, that is how close it was with the 17 just in front of the 53.
Incredible finish. We are 4, maybe 5 wide, depending on how you want to count that, with the rest of these drivers as well. Another thing that I do want to make sure that we get a look at here is the initial incidents that started to happen coming to the white flag here. If we take a look at the blimp view right here, the original race leaders getting together, the 13, the 99 into the 1 of Stovall. They're going to go up the racetrack. The 17 slides through here as the 3 gets caught with that right hook. Arie Fonseca's got nowhere to go. A lot of these guys are just going to scrape through or just get caught. The 05 gets caught right there. And I wonder what happened to the 1 car right here, because he seemed to be getting through okay. And then as we dive down into turn 1, we're 3 wide, and maybe he just doesn't get any help right here. He's kind of up towards the wall. Yeah, it looks like just no help for the 1 car. He's going to fall back right here as we watch this last lap on replay. Then the lines start to get formed up a little bit more. Chris Stitz really just found himself in the perfect spot on that inside line to sneak through and capitalize on the incident with the initial drivers, and lo and behold, that 17 car gets it done coming to the line right here sideways to make it happen. That's going to be a damaged race car, but race winnings should cover that one.
Race winner on the front stretch here with a blown motor. Let's see if we can't grab our third place finisher out here tonight. That's going to be Justin Campbell in the 2. Justin, Tom, and Arie up in the booth. How you doing tonight, sir?
Doing great. How are you, man?
We are doing all right. I tell you what, I think maybe the one and only time we said your name out here tonight was in those closing laps. We saw the seas kind of part for you, and all of a sudden you were a contender on the white flag.
Yeah, qualified like top 10 somewhere at the beginning, decided to drop back. That was a wrong move on my part. I guess should have stayed up there for a little bit till things kind of settle out, then drop back, but got damage fixed, kind of spent the entire race in the back pretty much. Just wait till the end, just see if I can manage to steal a win.
Well, you're gonna come out of Auto Club Atlanta with some good points in the first points-paying race of the season. We're gonna head over to Kansas, Indianapolis, and then we're gonna see some wild cards on the schedule here. We got Red Bull Ring. How you feeling about your upcoming races here in the Trinity Racing League?
Well, specifically the Red Bull Ring race. Not very good at road courses, but I'll definitely put a lot more time into that one. I don't really practice as much as I normally do for Xfinity races, but I'm looking forward to this season. I mean, I always had fun with it, and I always end up finding my way back to run the next season.
All right, Justin, you're going to come out of here with a top 3 finish in the first points race of the season. Justin, going to open up the floor for you. Anybody you want to say hello to back home watching you come home third? The floor is all yours, sir.
Appreciate everybody tuning in and watching. Great work with my teammates, Cody Reed and Arie Fonseca tonight. Sucks we didn't get a win out of it, but on to next week.
So close, could have been. We will see you next week at Kansas Speedway, and we're going to let you debrief back with your teammates. And second place, Chris Stamper, is with Arie.
That's right. I got a runner-up finisher tonight in that very beat-up 53 car across the line. I tell you what, Chris, you had a very strong performance all throughout Speed Weeks, and then you come out here, and that 53 was up towards the front for much of the night as well. It got real crazy and real chaotic there towards the end. What more did he need?
I would have liked to be on the bottom there instead of the top. I guess I would have liked to be in kind of, instead of leading the top there. I don't even really know what happened, but somehow we got broken up there, and then I had help on the top, but I would have really, really liked to have been kind of on the bottom in that spot. But then we all wrecked again at the line, and it was just all chaos. But we had a good time.
It looked like it from up here in the booth, and always great to finish with an exciting overtime run to the line, especially when one of those drivers is 5 wide and everyone else is 5 wide and one of those drivers is sideways, I should say. I'll tell you what, it's a great showing all through Speed Weeks, a great showing tonight in the first big points race of the season. We're going to get ready to switch up gears, though. It's been 3 weeks out here drafting, and now we get to go out to Kansas, Indy, and then the Red Bull Ring for quite the fun early season swing. How do you feel kind of getting off to the races running here with some good runs, but then heading into some of those tracks that we've got coming up?
I'm glad I got a decent run in tonight because I really don't know how the next couple weeks is going to go. You know, Kansas is a pretty tough mile and a half. I've never even seen the Red Bull Ring. I don't even think I own it on here, so that should be a pretty good learning experience for me. I'm not really a good road course racer, to be honest with you. And then Indy's tough. I've always just kind of been so-so at Indy, so gonna have to get on here. And with Clint Cox, he's about as good as anybody anywhere. So we'll get on here this week and work on it a little bit and try to come back and be decently competitive.
That's what we like to hear. Well, I tell you what, great job on the runner-up finish tonight. Oh, so close. We will open up the floor to you, Chris, to give any Hayes Highs shout-outs or the likes before we let you celebrate.
Just Eddie Donahue and Clint Cox, my two teammates. We've always had a good time running on here, and just they couldn't be here tonight racing with us, but Eddie was on the Discord with me. He got in a little bit late, and he was kind of here with me, and excited to get everybody back, and good to be here.
All right, there we have it. Our runner-up finisher tonight, Chris Stamper, driver of the 53, which brings us to the big name of the night. I think Tom is caught up with our race winner.
I tell you what, we spoke to Chris Stitz before the race, and he said, well, I hope I get to chat with you after the race, and we're going to do just that. Chris Stitz, you got a blown engine, but you also got a checkered flag.
I can't believe it. I honestly, the way my race was going, I mean, I was up front a lot of the time, but I fell back a few times, and I thought I was just going to stay back there. But everything just kept working out in my favor. That was awesome.
Yeah, the seas parted on the white flag lap, as I was telling Justin there a couple of minutes ago. You find yourself in an opportunity to take the checkered flag out here. You jump down onto the inside, and then you get a little bit of a shove, and somebody else shoves somebody else, and finally you guys all come together at the start-finish line. You're sideways in front of the 53. Kind of bring us through your thought process in turns 3 and 4.
3 and 4, I knew the guy behind me, I think it was Justin Campbell. I knew he was trapped by the car on his outside, and all I had to do was just protect that bottom and protect the apron going onto the front stretch. And fortunately, I was able to get a jump on him moving low on me and not get turned. That was that would have been worst case scenario, but I just wanted to protect that bottom, and as long as I could do that, I knew I would have a clear shot to the checkered flag. I didn't expect to get turned right, but it ended up working out because I kind of blocked the car on the outside.
Hey, take it any way you can get it here. The wins are hard to come by, and this season in the Xfinity cars that you set a name for yourself with a win in duel number 2 and the first points-paying race of the season. How you feeling about your chances long-term in this season to potentially become a championship contender?
I feel actually really good about it this season. Every other season in most leagues I've raced, I usually have a terrible start to my season every time in the first race of the season. 'Cause Super Speedways just never go in my favor. I'm always like 20th in points or 25th or whatever, and it's always a crawl back to try and get up to the top 10 or whatever it is for that season. But I definitely got a really good start here, and this is going to give me, I think, a lot of momentum going forward. And look to make a run deep into the championship this year.
All right, let's give a quick prediction. Next week, Kansas Speedway, very different style of racing than what we've seen the past 3 races here at the Trinity Racing League. How does the 17 do at Kansas?
Kansas, I really like running Kansas. I think it's definitely a track you're going to have to save a bunch of tire at long run wise. It just really seems to fall off after like 30 some laps, but I think I did good there last time I drove an Xfinity car there, but I'm looking at for at least I'm gonna give myself a top 5 finish there.
All right, I like the confidence, and you come out of here, I presume, leading the points after a win last week and also tonight. Chris, congratulations. We're gonna open the floor for you. Anybody you want to say hello to back home watching you take the checkered flag, the floor is all yours.
Yeah, first of all, thank you guys for joining us this season to
broadcast the races. I already watched the duel back, and you guys have already done a great job so far. So looking forward to go back and watch this one. And thank you to my teammates, Ryan Kelly and Joshua Sawyer. We gel together really well so far, and we really looking to make a push, all three of us, far into the championship. And thank you to the team owner, Larry Engling. I know he's watching. And I'd like to thank all the admins of this league, you know, Joshua Kanata, Nick Crawford. They all do a really good job of everything, putting this league together. I mean, last season we had an incredible first season, and we're looking to make this season better.
All right, well, best of luck to you here, Chris, in the upcoming races. We're going to let you go celebrate with Josh, who's still sitting there. I think he's waiting for you. Hopefully, save me a drink or two.
Yeah, he is.
Congratulations once again here on another win. We will talk to you another time.
All right, thank you, guys. Have a good night.
All right, Arie, and that is the top 3 finishing results from EchoPark Speedway, and what a 3 weeks at EchoPark it was.
I tell you what, 3 weeks at EchoPark, it's simultaneously quite a lot of drafting action to cover, but I think it was really cool to kind of follow the storylines throughout Speed Week, see it all culminate tonight. And, you know, we saw a driver who went out there and put the field on notice already in the past 2 weeks, come out here and get the job done. You know, he ran a clean race, did everything he had to do, and sure, he wasn't, you know, one of the dominant cars leading towards the end right there, but sometimes that's just how it swings, and he had the perfect white flag lap, defended how he needed to, got the job done. And you heard him. I mean, Chris Stitz, he's feeling confident about this season. He's off to a great start points wise, so we're going to be keeping our eyes closely on driver 17.
As the field of 32 drivers begins to make their way out of EchoPark Speedway, we're going to take a look at the finishing results from tonight's event from EchoPark Speedway. Chris Stitz comes home with the win out here tonight. We also spoke to Chris Stamper, second place on the result board out here tonight. Justin Campbell is the top 3 podium drivers that we spoke to in the post-race. Cody Reed comes home in 4th place, followed by Thomas Walter, all starting out their seasons with the top 10. Josh Stovall has a strong run out here tonight. He's good enough for 6th on the board, followed by Samuel Garcia, Christopher Norris, Ali Fonseca, and Noah Steele.
In 11th place, Sam Dyer ahead of Jarrett Talmadge in 12th. Good recovery for the 27. Ben Kinney finishes in 13th. Joshua Sawyer in 14th. Rounding out the top 15 is Justin Smith. In 16th finishes Stephen Clapp ahead of Joshua Kanata in 17th position. Mike Miller comes home in 18th after leading so much of the race. Thomas Green in 19th. Scott Rickard rounds out the top 20.
21st is led by Mark Labertone. In tonight's race, Ryan Kelly comes home in 22nd after being up front for most of the race out here tonight. David Reichman had a landed that he would like to forget out here tonight. Cedric Hunter led some laps out here, showed some speed, but comes home 24th. Isaac Shelley comes home in the top 25, followed by Aaron Kralik, Malik Kuntz, Jesse Thornock, Nick Renner, and Brendan Gass, the top 30.
Nolan Hicks, Ryan Bird, going to be shotgun on the field at the conclusion of tonight's events, and that is our field of 32 for the first of 18 races this season here in the Trinity Racing League. And of course, Tom and I will be here with all of you guys out at home every Monday night watching the racing action, calling it from up here in the booth. I'm excited. These guys got a pretty fun schedule. I'm looking forward to some of the fun stretches.
They certainly do. I mean, you know, we've already kind of spoken about Red Bull Ring. They're also going to see Motegi. That's a track that I don't even know if I have. They're going to see the road course of Sonoma, Charlotte Oval. They're going to see a lot of diversity on their schedule out here, and it begins next week at Kansas Speedway, where we're going to see who's able to take that 1.5-mile track and get win number 2 of the season.
All right, with that, we are done and away. Congratulations again to Chris Stitz, the big winner tonight. Don't forget to drop a like and subscribe here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcasting Network to make sure you don't miss any of the action moving forward. We will be back in 1 week's time for racing in Kansas.